Hi guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with Svetlin over at Mutant Cats DAO. How's everything going by you?
Hey
You doing
guys.
well?
Yeah.
So we met at NFT NYC in New York a couple weeks ago. Is that where you're based out of?
Yeah, I'm based out of New York City. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, what you see in the background is a barn in upstate New York.
oh, cool. What part of upstate?
Near Woodstock.
Oh, nice. Bet they still have epic
Yeah.
concerts up there. I is there how far away is that from Poughkeepsie?
It's about 25 minutes drive.
Okay. Have you heard of like those Poughkeepsie tapes from back in the day?
No, I have not.
It's like these. It was like this found footage. Like I guess something happened in like the. It was found in like the mid 2000s or late 2000s, and it was like really creepy. They made a movie about it. And that like I guess there was a series of disappearances up there. It was really cool. I've always wanted to go there. I haven't gone there yet. But
Oh wow.
anyway, we met at NFT NYC. Was that your first one that you went to?
Yes. Yeah, that for me that was the first NFT conference. Couple of the people that I work with at Mutant Cats were in Miami and LA previously, but this was the first for me.
All right. So what did you make of it?
I thought it was um, really an amazing conference. The the Mutant Cats we participated as a small, very tiny sponsor. We sponsored a barista coffee card there, and we got a small speaking uh, you know role with it. But after the organizers heard our stories, that's when they actually invited us to do a fireside chat, and that's when we met. I guess after that. Um, so for me, the conference was like really with two sides. You could what I saw were a lot of people that were from outside of the NFT world. Um, Met a lot of lawyers, actually a lot of um, a few bankers as well, and people that were just interested in the asset class, I guess, and just the possibilities of doing legal or investment work. And then there was a lot of just genuine NFT enthusiasts, and so it was really a mix of both.
Yeah, the reason I stumbled in there was because I was going around. I was really just looking for interviews. I was like live streaming,
Mhm.
and I was trying to go where like the people were, and a lot of the people that had whether it's fireside chats or they were had a talk, there usually wasn't a lot of people that was listening to people talk. But yours was a little different. There was a good amount of people in there, and it was something that I had seen a couple of other people wear. Like they wore like the mutant cats on apparel
Mhm.
on merch. Like, oh, this is really cool. Um, and you guys were pretty interesting on what I heard about. The one thing I wanted to ask, there's a bunch of things, but one thing I want to get to
Mhm.
first is the comic, like the IP that you guys are making. Are you guys gonna make it like Pokemon, where you have these main couple of characters, and then every issue you run into a few more characters, and then you work your way through all 9,999, or is it we're just gonna have like you know 100 of them, and we're gonna spread them out, and the story is just gonna be about them?
Um, so I think that there is um, um, there's two things. So we're gonna use we contracted Hero Studios to create that comic for us. And so I think the first book will be out shortly, probably within the next few weeks. The idea is that we're going to use a mix of maybe 5 to 10 characters that represent the mutant cats. And you know, some are fictional, some are not so fictional. The idea is really to represent the story of what you know, how our DAO developed, how our project developed in the past year. But we also are going to use a number of the NFTs that the DAO holds in its vault. That includes a number of mutant apes and bored apes. So since we own the IP of those characters, they will be part of the story. I don't want to give it up completely, but you know, if you saw the pamphlet that we had at the NFT NYC, it really is an idea that the mutant cats and the mutant apes will have some sort of a interaction.
I can't wait for that crossover. That'll be really fun to have. That's a good way to get a lot of their audience in as well. The characters that you have is, I know you yourself, you have about, I think you have 20, and they're all in staking contracts. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Will a lot of the characters in the comic be ones that you own, or they just picked randomized and like, okay, we're gonna get these guys?
No, actually, the mutant cats that we're not using a particular mutant cat from the collection into the comic. They are very similar. They're based on the art of the collection, but they're actually their own characters.
Okay.
The derivatives of the mutant apes are from the ones that the DAO owns, since you know, since we own the IP of those characters.
Okay. And so for getting them, I know Mutant Cats had tweeted out that the staking contract where over 90% of the Mutant Cats are staked, and they earn something called fish. Can you explain to me what that is and what the fish are?
I can explain to you. It's going to be a long story, but
Okay,
I
that's
think
fine.
that's I think that's part of the appeal of our project. So the mutant cats were born in October of 2021. And by the way, if I start blabbing too much, just stop me. And but I think it's
Oh no, this is what
important
you're here
to
for. Give us the tea.
yeah, this is it's because it's an interesting story, because neither the staking nor the fish actually exist anymore.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. So there is quite a few developments around the project. So the project, as I said, was started in October 2021. The idea is that there will be the first the Mutant Cats, the 10,000 collection, and the premise was that we're gonna it was structured as a DAO, where some of the proceeds from the royalties will go to a DAO of wallet, and some will go to the original devs. And with the money from the DAO wallet, we would be buying cool cats. At the time, I think cool cats were probably 6, 7, 8, and a lot of people were priced out of them. This is the time when mutant apes were at 3, and the bored apes were at maybe 25. So that was the genesis idea of the project, is to allow people to get into the Cool Cats project without spending that. And the idea was that those NFTs will be fractionalized in fractionalized art .com, I think it is, or org, and so we'll issue a fish token which will represent that vault. Things really quickly spiraled out. I think we were buying one cool cat per day, insane volumes in the collection, and so things started developing. So we started actually buying other assets. We bought one punk, we bought a Fidenza, which was 200 ETH, and was really trying to expand the horizon and probably just create like a vehicle for people that want to have exposure to those high valued NFTs without really spending the money for them, and just buying the cats, and basically one cat, it represents 0.01% of the DAO's assets. And once so then the devs were their idea was to create a staking contract. So when the stakes when the cats are staked, you earn fish, and fish represents the actual fractionalized vault. It was a lot of hype. I think at the top, I believe cats were trading at 3 ETH. So it was quite an amazing bull run there. And then there was a lot of hype after the devs announced that they will create a second collection called the Mutant Gorillas, which will be used to create serum, and then with the serum we're going to create the next version of the 3D version of the cat, and then that they will go into the metaverse and so on and so forth. And I think once the Mutant Gorilla, it was done as an auction, and we soon after that we realized basically that the original dev team is basically a bunch of cons, and they're just trying to cash grab and steal as much money as they can. And it was a lot of community involvement and a lot of infighting. But to really not to bore you with this, but at the end of the day, the community decided that we really need to take over. The devs were going into developing other projects. They were not doxed, so we couldn't really track them. It was a lot of the guerrilla auctions was a big cash grab on their part. We're talking maybe 1,000 ETH altogether, if not more. But the one thing that I was initially involved in the project, and even before this happened, the original devs, one thing that they did for the credit was that I actually created the multi-sig wallet where the DAO was receiving a part of the proceeds from the royalties, and they actually had a number of community members, including myself, on that in that multi-signer wallet, and I think that was a pivotal moment because we were actually able to secure that wallet for the community. And at the time, we probably had about 800 ETH in it.
Nice.
Then it took about 2 months to get all the contracts to be transferred to that same Genosis wallet controlled by the multi-sig. there was a board was created, busy groups, people from the community just rose up, everybody who had experience in marketing, in finance, in solidity development, whatever, you name it. So it was a very intense few months, but and at the same time the price was dropping like a stone. So we went through a very harsh period as a project, but we realized that a lot of people were burned from the gorillas. A lot of people were burned from the fish, because the tokenomics of the fish token, which was representing the value of the fractionalized vault, was also falling very sharp. I mean, at one point it was at $12, and it was down to 50 cents and 40 cents and 30 cents. And so what we realized when we did the math was that the people that created that didn't really think about it. It was hyper inflationary. And basically, as you pointed, 90% of the cats were staked. Mm-hmm. So that's 9,000 cats, each earning 10 fish per day. That was 90,000 fish per day, and so we were just spitting out fish without really having the volumes or the royalties to catch up the value of the vault. Yeah. What the other thing I wanted to mention is before the old devs really disappeared, there were two major purchases that we made. One was the DAO swept 30 mutant apes at about 3.5 ETH, and 3 bored apes at about 30 ETH, and some
what are the floors of that now? Those projects, what are they at now? The floors?
The floor of the bored ape is 90, and the mutant apes are about 17. Now you also have to consider that
ETH went down,
we got roughly $1 million worth of ape coin through those assets, plus a lot of land. So I can talk about, we actually divested some of those assets when they were really high. So what the board decided at the time was that, okay, the fractionalized vault really is not going to work in the long term. Fish was the liquidity in fish was drying up. There was no support. So what we decided was to buy out the vault. So there is in fractionalized vault, there is in the fractionalized art mechanism. The NFTs are basically locked and they're fractionalized, and those are the the only way to bring those assets out is to buy out the entire vault. So what you need to do is put a bid on the entire vault, and there is like a 7 or a 3 day period that you have to wait to see if there's another bidder. And this was happening just as the whole ape ecosystem was starting to rally. So we used pretty much every cent that we had in the Genesis wallet. So we bid 820 ETH, I believe, and waited patiently for these 3 day period to pass. And the reason that we did this was the DAO, even though we were creating the fish per day, 99% of the fish was actually still was held by the DAO, because remember that they were done for 10 years. So we had 10 years ahead of printing those fishes. So the we held not, there was only 1% of the fish was in circulation. So we made that bid successfully. We won it. 99% of the ETH that we bid came back to the DAO. But also we were able to extract all those NFTs out from the vote, from the fractionalized vote. What that gave us gave us the ability to claim the ape coin later, gave us the ability to sell individual NFTs, so we currently sit at 12 mutant apes. So we sold about 18 of them. We keep 3 bored apes.
Wow.
We keep the Fidenza, the Punk. But on top of that, we have about 1,200 ETH in the vault, plus about $1.5 million US. So all we know, I mean, depending on how you value it, is about it's about $5 million, $5 million of value at the moment. When ETH was higher, it was up to about 10 million. And it's all, it's all run by the community. Obviously, there are major holders now that including, I have 200 and something cats. I mean, that's still only 2.5% of all, but there are a few members of our board that have similar amounts of cats, and we're just working very hard trying to create value for all holders.
Yeah, you got Bobby here who wants to snag some before you before you go and buy more. And so I do want to get into the numbers a little bit, but before I do, I think it was Anamo had done an article talking about, it was you and it was Augustin Lucero talking about how you guys survived that rug pull and what you guys did to mitigate some of the risk and make the pain a little bit less. What do you think was most important when surviving? What do you think was the thing that like really helped save the project and really helped make sure you guys kept going and now are obviously still wildly successful?
I think that being wildly successful is probably not the right thing. I think we are striving to get there. I mean, it's how do you measure success? Some people measure it with the floor price. I think we're still very depressed at 0.2 ETH. I think that there's a lot of things in the works, and that we hope that that the floor will start reflecting the progress that we're making as a project. I think at the time the most important, as always, is the community. And to be honest, I mean, there are a lot of disenchanted community members. A lot of people just threw away the project. But still, there were some people that were very committed and then just kept on trucking, even against all odds. I think that we've made some really important moves to secure the assets, and I always go back to that. I think that for me, as someone that runs the financial side of the project, always has been the paramount importance is to secure the vault and the assets for the benefit of the mutant holders, the mutant cat holders. I mean, the 10,000 collection, that's we put that on a pedestal. This is for us the most important thing. Each token basically represents, as I said, part of the vault and part of the DAO. And so, yeah, I think that those community members that stayed throughout that period, and we're talking about months, but in NFT world, months are maybe
a long
years
time
now.
yeah. It's a really long time. Things happen in like days or hours. Like if you're if I do a video like early morning at like 10 a.m. and then I do another video at 10 p.m. Like there's so much that goes on, like enough to for me to make another video. And
Mhm.
if there's somebody that was really busy during that day, they're probably not going to watch that first video I did because at that point that's old news. It's like, oh, hey, now let me go and just watch the most recent one. It's really strange how it goes. So you guys have a decent amount in the war chest as far as ETH and US dollars, and I imagine that a lot of the payments are already done for Hero Studios for the Mutant Cats comic book, and that is going to go for how many issues or how long?
Um, I have to go back and look at the contract. I'm not. If I believe it's 40 ETH that we have for maybe 6 months worth of. Yeah. I'll come back to you, but
Okay,
it's not an outrageous amount.
yeah,
And I mean, the comic is really only uh, uh, one of the tools that we have in the toolbox. I mean, we have a lot of things going on, and I think rightly our community has been struggling to understand the, the direction of the project, and some may describe it as somewhat of an identity crisis, and um, that that is to an extent true, because we really had to first secure the assets, secure the funding long term, and now I think the board is really starting to move its attention to how are we going to make this successful, and what is going to really uh, bring benefits back to the holders. Um, so I think we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves in one strategic move. We obviously don't want to be on like an investment fund. What this project was probably started as a conduit for somebody to get into NFT blue chips. I think we want to keep some of that. So I think we're going to be continuing to hold high valued NFTs, but also we'll probably continue to have strategic purchases and strategic sales when we I think some of the people that we have are very experienced in the market, and so I think we can bring more value to the holders. Then there's two other areas that we want to focus on. One is Web3. Really extending the IP. That we have and we create into comics, the comic book. But then the next thing would be trying to shop around for an animation program, or really create create a merchandise line, a clothing line, and not just merchandise, but actually a very unique clothing line that would just not be shirts with logos that I'm wearing right now, but something much cooler than that. The DAO owns a big land plot in the sandbox, which is currently being only a small part of it is being developed, but we're creating a Mutant Labs hub where once we get the VX collection, for which we think that it will be just airdropped in some way to current holders, so then they can go into the sandbox and enjoy the hub that we have there. It's we have a studio called Tempest that's working on that development as we speak.
mhm,
We are creating some real life events. We just had a party in Marbella that had a lot of people attend. We had some events in New York, and we're gonna try to do, I
But
always say, it's sometimes it's not, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I mean, sometimes you just copy the best and create a mini version of what the apes are doing, or some
yeah, if the
other
process
successful
works,
project.
then
Hmm.
if it's a proven system of success, you might as well. And speaking of that, it sounds like in the next several months to a year, you guys are going to start rolling out things that are going to passively make you guys a good amount of money. But let's say if you decided to delay it for whatever reason, like you really wanted to really nail down the MP, hire story writers. If you had no additional funds coming at you, let's say for like 2 years, how long could you guys operate for with the bankroll that you guys have, with the payroll that you guys have?
Hmm.
How long before you you actually would need some funds in order to keep going?
Yeah, that's always on my mind. Um, it's I view this project as a startup, but also a startup that benefits from a significant war chest. So I I think that th this really goes back to show the experience of the team that we have. Um, and we really picked the top of the market to divest some of the illiquid NFTs. At the end of the day, one thing that we said is that we need to create a sustainable, a a long enough runway that we have time to develop all the ideas that we have in order for the project to succeed. So you can call it lucky, but I think it's more than that. I think it really talks to the experience and the insight that the team has in terms of divesting from really limiting our exposure to the ape ecosystem by selling most of the ape coin that we received. Um, that
Was was
sale was about at $17.50. I believe it trades at about $5 right now. So when we converted that into USDC, so we have about as I said, $1.2 million sitting in a stable coin. Um, our run rate, like if you call it the burn rate, is probably about I want to say about $40,000 a
Mhm.
month. So just the stable coin gives us at least 2.5 years of
Yeah.
runway. On top of that, we have the ETH, which is, as I said, 1,200, and we have the still a lot of high valued NFTs. In terms of income, royalties are something that we receive, but it's not great. It's just the volumes are not there. But if we start being even marginally successful at some of the projects that we have, I think we will see that volume.
Yeah, I really like that you have 30 months worth of uh, your phone went out. Some technical difficulties. It's all good. While you fix that, I'll just tell the audience that we have a lot of I have a lot of confidence in the project that you have 30 months worth of the bills lined up already to go just from the stablecoin assets that you have. Is your mic good? I did not hear the mic. Better?
I think I lost you the second.
No, it's all right. I just was telling the audience that it's really comforting to me, or like any investor, saying that you have 30 months worth of bills paid just in the stablecoin that you guys hold. Did they still can't hear you? Oh, there we go. Do you hear an echo?
Oh, okay. Now it's better. Now it's good.
Okay, good.
I um yeah, I think that's a fair representation. I think about 30 months is about right. That's just based on our stable stable coin. Um, we're we're trying to run a very lean ship. Of course, creating creating IP assets, creating the metaverse. The take take time and take money. But we do have. I think we have very experienced people on both sides of Web 2 and Web 3, and people that have experience in the entertainment industry, in the music scene, in real life events promotion. So I think that there's
Yeah.
there not just the war chest that we have, but I think we also have talent that people that are truly committed to the project.
You said music scene. K Collection is talking about the Eminem and Snoop Dogg's video about Bored Apes having it there. Do you guys, or maybe this is a question for Music Man Ed, saying, do you guys have plans to have some Mutant Cats in some music videos?
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so sorry I was late. Got stuck in another meeting that went way longer than it should have.
It's all good.
Thanks so much for having us on here. Svet, thanks for holding down the fort. So to be quite honest, I mean, bringing the Mutant Cats into the music world is absolutely something that we're heavily looking into. The exact path to how we make that happen is kind of up in the air right now. We're talking with a few different, Web3 studios and music companies to see how like that entrance, that on ramping might look like. But absolutely, I think there's an amazing opportunity right now. I think to cross over from Web3 into the music world, and a lot of projects are actively looking into it and doing so successfully. And Mutant Cats are definitely going to be looking in that direction too.
Yeah, something that I think you guys might be able to work out is that Svet was saying that some of the diversification that you guys had done was buying some land in Sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to be having Janine Yorio on next Thursday. She is a CEO of Every Realm, that's the company that has the most amount of land in Sandbox, and they did just have Nas and Lil Baby go into a agreement with them. I think the funding round was done by Andreessen Horowitz, and that's just something that Sandbox does have a lot of that. Paris Hilton, Snoop Dogg, obviously Nas and Lil Baby going in. When you guys do that, is it going to be something on YouTube or something that's going to be done in Sandbox because that's what people are doing nowadays?
That's a great question. I think we want to be in as many places as possible, right? Even if we were to go into Sandbox and try to do something with, because we have a big 6x6 as well, so we have a big chunk of land in there that we can play in, and we have a professional studio who's building out a social hub for us. So absolutely want to have some engagement, especially if we go the music route in Sandbox, but also find a way to live stream those either to Discord or YouTube, or to make sure that we're able to get as many of our community involved as possible, even those that might not necessarily be actively in Sandbox.
Gotcha. I was wondering, the other thing is that you guys obviously do diversify and you guys do have a lot of making sure that the money's working for you. Does it worry you that like there's something that, let's say, ETH rocks, though there's like 100 of them and they're worth like $250,000 each, that at some point, because this has been the wild west in NFTs for the last few years, that once you have, if I can use Gary Vee's words, like Mickey Mouse, or you have other really interesting IP on the blockchain, that might either dilute the market a little bit, or we'll have funds going from stuff like ETH rocks, Bored Apes, or any of those pixelated things, and people will flow money into other stuff like that.
Well, I think it's just typical of the NFT space that NFT traders tend to be always chasing the next shiny thing. I think that's a bit in our nature as NFT traders, and why NFT projects are not really liquid assets if you really think about them, right? It's a market asset, not a liquid asset. It's not like you're trading something that has that they're sitting in a pool of liquidity at all times. So your NFTs are only worth what someone's willing to pay for them at any given time, which I think is something that more NFT traders should be consciously aware of, especially those that tend to overinvest into some of these JPEGs. That being said, in terms of Mutant Cats and how we think about it, we're looking to build up our IP not just within the Web3 space. So our end goal is to always cross over into mainstream, where the popularity of our IP is stands alone and aside from our Web3 presence, and then the Web3 presence just becomes kind of like the super fandom of the project. Where we have the DAO, we have our community members who can vote on the direction of how we're running the company, the leadership in charge, how we're spending our funds, and how we're investing in some of these IP projects. But the IP itself, we're hoping that at some point will stand alone, so we can actually use that as a bridge into the real world and to grow the brand and to grow the enterprise organically.
Yeah, I was telling Svet I was really into the comic book idea, really curious to where that story goes. And I'll ask you about that in a minute as well. But I was also thinking about, would you guys ever go into, again, just for the sake of diversifying, like there was this person named Josh Beauchamp, who's got like 800,000 followers on Twitter, and he's just saying Darth Vader has to be one of the best villain development stories of all time, which I totally agree with. It's great. I don't know if you've seen Obi-Wan, but it seems like a lot of people that really love Star Wars or really love these things, like Superman or Batman, they don't really know that like the first of those happen to be on the blockchain yet with the veve app. Have you guys thought about diversifying into veve NFTs?
veve NFTs is interesting. I own a few veve NFTs myself. Mostly in the DC fandom. It was an interesting space. I didn't love their platform. I didn't like how it's gated. So you have to play in this walled garden. Getting your NFTs in and out of them out of there is kind of a hassle, if even at all possible. I'm not sure if they fixed that yet.
That might take a while. Like that might be like next year. People might have to wait.
And the reality is Warner Brothers kind of left a weird taste in my mouth with how they approached at least Batman, which is one of my favorite fandoms in the DC space. I was at NFT LA last year, and they had promised this amazing presentation on the future of IP in the metaverse, and there was supposed to be this talk by Warner Brothers executives, and being part of the Mutant Cats and being in the wanting to break into the IP space, I was really excited. I showed up early for the talk. I was there. I brought a bunch of people with me. We were all really excited about this talk, and it ended up being like a 30-minute shill on the Batman cowl NFT drop. And it was
the Bat Cows, yeah.
It was so disappointing. Like they didn't talk about anything. Like they didn't give no insights on how IP is being developed for the NFT space and for Web3 and for Metaverse. It was just like, here's all the reasons you should buy a cow, and it was just like a PowerPoint presentation on why you should buy a cow. And I was just like, really? Like this is Warner Brothers, and this is the best they could this is the best foot forward they could put, a 30-minute shill. So I was a little thrown off by that, and it really made me realize in that moment that even these big companies, Warner Brothers, with these amazing IP, Batman. I mean, can you get better IP than freaking Batman? Still have no freaking clue what they're doing. Like they're floundering along in this ocean of NFTs, like just like trying to stay afloat like everyone else is, and just trying to figure it out day by day. And they haven't cracked the code. They don't have a magic formula for how they think they're going to make this work. Like they're just trying to sell you an NFT like everyone else is.
Yes.
And to me, that was really eye-opening.
Yeah, they had this really interesting idea, or like this really interesting approach that was very unorthodox, where like Disney, Disney's not going to 8 different platforms and doing their stuff. All the Marvel, Disney, and Star Wars stuff is on veve. But whereas, like you said, Warner Brothers is all like, hey, buy Bat Cows over here on Palm, and then buy Hero cards on Hero, and DC digital collectibles on veve. So and I think they're kind of just doing, throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and something's bound to stick. So I don't know which way they want to. They've done, I think, like you said, the most marketing for Bat Cows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'll change at some point in the future. But yeah, obviously, Vivi's a little bit more than just Batman, even though Batman's, obviously huge, and I love it also. As far as other stuff, I mean, Disney filed for their metaverse, CVS filed for their metaverse. It seems like everyone's filing for their metaverse. Josephino says, what do you make of other existing market cap of collectibles moving to Web3, like comics? And how do you guys plan to compete against that? Or do you think you would more like join with them and be like, hey, let's do this project together in this new metaverse or in Sandbox or in something else?
Oh, I think that probably our end goal is to get outside investors. I mean, are we going to be able to create something that is going to be desirable to any one of those big powerhouses? I doubt it, but I think that if we're early enough and we have the uniqueness of our structure and community ownership, I think we should be able to gather interest. Yes, but that's probably one of the longer term goals of the board is to and how to create value for the token holders of Mutant Cats.
Cool. So we have, I guess I probably should ask this first. Why pick mutant cats and not like mutant squirrels or mutant gerbils or something like that?
So that's funny, and it kind of tells can help me tell a little bit about our history, right, and who we are and how we came to be. So Mutant Cats was launched by an anonymous development team last September. So none of us that involved in Mutant Cats currently are part of the initial team that started Mutant Cats. They were started completely by an anonymous team who very quickly into the project, and I'll skip some of the details. You can look into our newsletters if you want more details.
Yeah, we went over it a little bit already.
But long story short, they tried to slow rug us. They kind of lost interest in the project, and we banded together as a DAO to take it over because of the amazing community that we had built and the amazing relationships that we were creating inside the community. So it really wasn't like should it be a mutant cat or mutant squirrel? It was like, hey, we're all part of Mutant Cats. We bought this NFT. We're in this community already, and these anonymous leaders are leading us like off the cliff. Let's change directions. Let's band together and let's create something amazing. And we all kind of through that process fell in love with the IP of Mutant Cats because of what we went through together in the project.
Yeah, but I think the original, as I mentioned very early on, was the original idea was that that the Mutant Cats will buy cool cats as so that was the idea of being mutant, is that that's the only way for you to buy into the high valued cool cats at the time. And as I said, things just spiraled out very quickly, and suddenly we were buying not just cool cats, we were buying all these other NFT projects, and it just I think it just evolved from there, which is probably a good segue for me to mention that there were a couple of things that we never actually were able to get from the developers, and one was who really is the artist, and how and what we own the IP of the actual the art. So what the team decided is to create new art, be very close to the original art, but so we have we went through a lot of experiments, trying with single artists, with different artists, and then but now we're working with a studio, and the art that we already have all the base models ready. We're working on all the traits, and I think our community would love it. I mean, you can see some of the sneak peeks on our Discord, but the art is really a huge upgrade, and so it's going to be pushed through like a metadata update, and we'll keep all the rarities and all of that. but that would also the IP will be similar to what Bored Apes have. So each holder will have their own rights to use the image, and also we as collective will be able to use some of it. So that's another thing that we're working on.
Great. And question for Music Man Ed: if there's any type of genre to get into, would you guys want to do? Is it like house music? Is it ska? Is it rap? Country? What type of stuff is going to be like your first step into it?
That's another really good question. Something we've been talking about. Some of our other board members have some really deep ties into the EDM community. And they know a lot of executives that help run festivals.
Nice.
So that might be like a convenient on-ramp for us, where we can already have some exposure at some of these festivals, maybe like a VIP activation for Mutant Cats. I don't know. I'm just speaking off the top of my head here. Just some fun stuff like that. So that's something we're looking into. And then that would kind of lend itself into like a DJ cat, right? It might be like the easy first step into that world. We create a cat that's like a DJ, and then we have music created around that. And that would be an interesting way. Then we'd have to find interesting ways to cross this, virtual DJ artist into the real world, right? Is that through giant screens at festivals? Is that through, a guy in a cat suit? We can have some fun with it at that point. But yeah, that's probably the first genre that we're looking at, just mostly because of, some of the easy on-ramping that we could do into that space.
All I'm thinking right now is like someone in like a cat suit having like an epic DJ battle with Deadmau5.
Oh my god!
And just having the cat side versus the rat side, like Sylvester versus Tweety Bird.
Oh my god, it'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I would love that. I would totally go to the shows. Newsman Ed, where are you based out of?
I'm in Los Angeles, so I'm in California.
Okay, cool. I'll be out there later this month for for San Diego Comic-Con. Are you guys going to that?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll be there.
Huzzah! Cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a booth?
The Mutant Cats will not have a booth, but I'll be there with my IRL job, actually. So definitely let's hook up. Let's I'll be there. I think there's going to be a few other cats that might be there too. So just let me know.
All right, cool. Yeah. We'll talk off camera about meeting and whatever and doing all that.
Awesome.
That'd be great. So I know you're going to be there with your IRL job. Are you going to have like stickers or cards, or are you going to have any type of Mutant Cat merch while you're there?
I could probably tow along some Mutant Cat merch with me. I think
Okay.
Svet and I could probably make that happen.
That'd be legit.
That's a really good idea. Definitely bring some stickers. Maybe some comic teasers if we we can get some more of those printed. We can have some fun stuff.
We'll exchange some stickers. I have a buddy of mine working on some real Randy Chavez stickers that I'm gonna hand out, so that'll be really fun. I'll be doing a lot of work. I'll be doing the live streaming. I'll be doing the hanging out around the Marvel and veve booth that'll be there, and just on ramping people. But yeah, like I said, I had you guys on because at NFT NYC I saw a lot of people that had like plans for what they wanted to do, and they didn't really have a working product yet, and they had like they had bankrolls of maybe like $1 million, but they hired a couple of devs. Like they only had a bankroll for like 10 months, and they still didn't have a working product. I was like, oh my god, you guys are wildin'. But then you guys come in and just like, hey, we've survived X, Y, and Z, and we have like a cult following, we have an audience, you got a bunch of people here that really love you guys. So getting you on is I saw you guys as kind of like a diamond in the rough, and I'd really like to build the relationship further.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying, do Mutant Cats eat fish? Have you heard of fish?
We've heard of the fish. So we had an interesting relationship with Fish. Fish was our original DAO token when we were fractionalizing the vault. Then we got some very good legal counsel that basically said, hey guys, this makes you pretty much a security. You should rethink this token.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it was capitulating, and it was tanking the value of the cats themselves with it. Before Fish, we were, at a healthy, well above a healthy 1 ETH floor. closer to 2 or 3 ETH at some points. And then after fish, started tanking, the project kind of tanked with it. And that's when we realized that this fish was, a bit cancerous for the project. So we bought our own vault, our own fractional art vault, and freed all of our NFTs from there and put all the fish back in and got rid of it.
Yeah, and also just a couple of things I wanted to mention. The other event that we're actually working on right now is NFT London in early November. So we have really big plans. We should have Music Man will because he ran the negotiations with Heroes. So can you tell us about what the because Randy was asking me about how much comic books we have contracted with them.
Yeah, I'm curious about like the plot and then how many chapters or issues we'll get and that type of deal.
Sure thing. So I can speak quickly on this, but then guys, I really apologize. I do have an 11 o'clock I have to jump off to.
Yeah.
So the comic book we're really excited about. So what we have in the the contract with Hero Project is 5 comics. So it's going to be a 5-episode series, basically. At the end, they will be bound. So the 5 comics will come out as digital comics. In the end, when all 5 are completed, they'll be bound together into an actual graphic novel, like similar to when you have 5 regular comics, they come out like the volume 1, 2, 3, whatever, and the thicker graphic novel. So we'll get our full graphic novel that comes with a full distribution deal. So you should be able to theoretically in about a year from now to 8 to 12 months from now, you'll be able to walk into a Barnes and Noble and walk out with a Mutant Cats graphic novel in your hand. So the distribution deal is already included in it with what's the name of that company? Simon and Schuster, I think is their name, is going to be doing the distribution. And then they're also going to be delivering us an IP Bible, which for those of you who aren't familiar with what an IP Bible is, it's just all the content that they created around all the characters and all the IP that we can then use to shop around for like a TV show or a movie or other types of assets that we want created.
Cool. There's I mentioned Fish before. There's the fish.com. You can mint some Fish. It's just a really interesting way of you just buy one Fish, you get a whole tank, you get a bunch of different things, get a lot of airdrops. I know you have to go. Thank you so much, Music Man Ed, for coming by. Svetlin, do you have to go as well?
No, I can hang a little bit.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about Fish further then. Music Man Ed, it was good to meet you.
Awesome. Thanks, Randy. Thanks for having us. And sorry that I'm kind of in and out so quickly today. But with the short holiday week and coming off of COVID, it kind of trying to cram everything back into these next few days here.
I feel you. You feel better, and you have a good one.
All right, thanks, man. Take care.
Okay, bye. So one of the other reasons why I like to, because this is gonna sound so weird if you haven't watched my channel. It started for when I was covering Earth 2, where I don't know why, but I started to meow at the end of my videos, and everybody like loved it. I thought it was weird, so like I stopped it, and then people were like, no, bring back the meow. I was like, okay, all right. So at the end of every one of my videos or my streams, I'll meow, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Let me check these guys out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Fish I think is something else is really good to diversify in. I have a few as well. The project they're really more about like getting you value, like like the price is what you pay, and it's super cheap to mint a Fish, and that you just pay that with gas fees. But then the project that's run by this guy named Brock Blockchain, that he could go and say like, hey, I'm gonna have you pay for a tank and pay for the items in the tank and pay for this, and he doesn't. All of it's done via airdrops, and then they have this game associated with it called Fish Arena, where the Fish go in like giant mech suits and they fight each other like giant robots, and it's freaking awesome. And I think that would be really cool to have maybe like a crossover between Mutant Cats and Fish, because there is a lore to it, and I can't wait to see the lore behind Mutant Cats. But would definitely check those out.
We'll definitely get the details, and we love to to look for collaborations. I like to say it's we're so early. We have to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. We have also a partnership with Crypto Foxes. It's not a very sophisticated game that they're developing for us, but we will have a cat running there and doing stuff. But yeah, we're constantly looking for different collaborations and partnerships.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cats have pretty much taken over the internet without even trying. You guys did a really good job with, kind of saving this, making it your own. Uh, uh, we'll probably do this again at some point. Maybe I'll even live stream with Music Man Ed when we're at San Diego Comic Con. We're onboarding new fans. People want shirts. They want the merch. What is something? What are some immediate goals, and what's like the end goal? Or do you have an end goal? Is it right now? It's just kind of doing what's ahead of you.
So I think the end goal is to create the token to each cat to bring so much benefits to its holders that it has a sustainably higher value. I mean, we're not looking for the project to moon or whatever, but I think to create a level where people just accept that you paid that amount, but that gives you a number of exclusive offers. One example we're doing right now is, as I mentioned, is going to, we have the comics, we have the IRL events, and obviously those will be attached to, holders. When we're going to have special things for special things for holders. But also we're creating these, it's not just your old-fashioned merch line. I think we really want to create some unique pieces of clothing. We're gonna have the idea for London NFTs to actually have a sort of an exhibition hall where we're gonna have some of that merch there, plus some of the comics, plus some like photo booth and some other crazy ideas. As Music Man had said, the cat DJ and so on. But yeah, for example, we're working to create a store on Shopify where if there will be exclusive merchandise for holders. That's really it's creating a sort of a mini, I want to call it a mini velvet rope, something that just people value as be part of the community, but also has some attached bells and whistles to it in terms of benefits.
Was that a pun? Because you put bells and whistles on cats sometimes. I don't want to hear them coming. I love the idea of making all these metaverses like Sandbox, Earth 2, Decentraland, the Veveverse. I love how making all of them interoperable, because then you could just have one avatar, like just make one mutant cat, and then everyone else does the rest of the work, and you just go into each metaverse. And the physical merch that you guys sell, you could also make that digital, have that NFT counterpart, which would be really awesome.
Yeah, so we are actually talking with somebody that we met at NFT NYC, that the company called Uniqlo. They sound like Uniqlo, the store, but they actually create. They put a chip in the digital thing, and then you create. You can create the same piece of clothing into the metaverse. I know CyberKong and some other big projects are already involved with them. I mean, one thing I want to mention is we contracted a artist out in Spain to create 3 unique pairs of Nikes Jordans for us, and I wish you stopped by at our booth. They were absolutely the draw of the crowd. We had so many people just loved them, really, really loved them, and so you know, again, they're really unique, and also you just, that's what I'm saying. You never know where you know, where you can create actually interest in your project. So we're gonna raffle those. I can send you some pictures, but you know, that's really the idea, is to create some unique pieces, not of clothing, but also we're gonna digitalize those and have them, you know, our VX cats be able to wear them in our sandbox when we get there. So a lot of things. I think we don't have concrete goals. I think we just want to explore some different avenues, and some, I know that some will fail of our attempts, but
Yeah.
you know, as long as we succeed at half of what we're trying to do, I think so we'll be successful in the long run. So that's kind of the short and long term goal. I mean, as you said, we, you know, the cats is kind of what, you know, we inherited this project, and but you know, all of us that are involved are really deeply in love with it right now. And you know, I'm 47 and I worked on Wall Street, and here am I doing this, and I'm really enjoying it. And we also want to, you know, one of the other things is, one, like, we thought about, okay, cats, and we know how many people actually love cats, and that's one thing we want to actually do, is create a you know, a charitable funding of some you know, for some cat shelters, and maybe have like one of those cat shelter cafes that they have in LA and New York. So just a lot of you know, a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I I was a veterinary assistant from like my first career, you know, for like 9 years before I joined the military. So I can definitely help you out with that. If there's anything that you need as far as that, let me know. I'll be able to put you in contact with some good people. I work with Best Friends Animal Society a lot. Any other lasting messages you want to send to the audience before we depart?
The only thing is, you know, I want to have a lively, engaging community. So I would just invite anybody to join our Discord, join our Twitter, and, you know, come check us out. We're always there. We're really very passionate about this project, and that's all. I'm really, really grateful for you inviting us.
Yes, of course. We got a lot of people, a good amount of people that are probably going to join as well. Send me that that Discord on the Twitter, and then I'll give that a share. All right.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. And thank you so much for coming on. I'll end the broadcast. I'll just talk to you real quick afterwards. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you all